After the tone, please state your name followed by the pound sign.
To the National Disability Employment Awareness Month Education Series, Session 2 of 3, Empowering People with Disabilities on the Job and Setting Expectations. My name is Kathy Jablinski, and I sit on the State Rehabilitation Council for the state of Iowa. Today we have two fantastic presenters with us, Stephanie Sessions from Candeo and Amanda Banks from UnityPoint. Amanda Banks is the Human Resource Business Partner with UnityPoint Health Des Moines. She is the Project Search Business Liaison and Diversity and Inclusion Chair for the Des Moines region at UnityPoint Health. She has over 14 years of human resource experience, beginning at Principal Financial Group, working in various HR capacities, including recruitment and generalist business partner roles within several business lines at Principal. She came to UnityPoint Health in 2009 and has worked as a business partner supporting several ancillary and non-ancillary departments. As a business partner, she primarily focuses on making the environment inclusive and mitigating risk to the organization. As a business liaison to the search program, she works very closely in providing a welcoming environment, collaborating with Candeo staff to create new internship host departments, and maintaining relationships with the current host departments, breaking down barriers and helping to support the goal of competitive employment for the interns. Amanda also serves as the Vice Chair of the Greater Des Moines Partnership Diversity and Inclusion Council. Stephanie Sessions is the Lead Employment Coordinator with Candeo. She provides oversight of all operations to the largest community-based supported employment program in the state of Iowa. The program has been nationally recognized for inclusion and best practices in customized job development, benefits planning, and job coaching outcomes. She has been involved with Project Search to ensure the relationship between UnityPoint and Candeo maintains the same vision of inclusion by providing resources to the business and qualified staff. She has been involved in every element of supported employment, from building relationships with businesses, creating and implementing programs, empowering clients to obtain employment and maintaining employment, and providing training and technical support to her other vocational programs. I'd like to welcome both speakers today and thank you for your time. And would like to take a minute just to thank our sponsors across the state of Iowa who helped make this program available today. We have several sponsors throughout the state, as well as our chamber and alliance partners. So thank you everyone for joining us today for part 2 of our 3-session education series. Amanda and Stephanie.
Thank you so much, Kathy. We are excited to be here. So today, Amanda and myself will be discussing how to empower people and workplace culture for individuals with disabilities. So my name is Stephanie Sessions. I'm the Lead Employment Coordinator at Candeo.
And Amanda Banks, UnityPoint Health Business Partner.
So today, why we are here and what we hope are some objectives that you can come away with to think through as either as an agency yourself or as an employer trying to figure out other ways to identify folks that could come into your business to be successful, is ways to identify inclusion, what that is, what that feels like, and to think outside the box, away from what we're used to doing when it comes to hiring, along with how to diversify hiring practices. We'll discuss a little bit about workplace culture and disability etiquette in the workplace, and then tying in Project Search in that model, we'll discuss how that has become a great model and one avenue of UnityPoint and Candeo to really empower individuals and to set expectation for folks that are coming through the doors here at UnityPoint.
So to start us out as a good base point here, let's look over the definitions from Webster's Dictionary related to inclusion and empower. Inclusion is the action or state of including or being included within a group. Empower is to give that power and to promote self-actualization. So to do all of this and have them align with what is inclusion and empowerment for all individuals in the workforce, you must start at the top and put this into your mission and vision,
through expectations and holding individuals accountable, to allow for acceptance, and then also, as we spoke about, etiquette, avoiding the awkward moments, being professional in our interactions for all. As mentioned, Project Search is one of those avenues that we took, and so we knew as an organization that it was important that if our mission and vision is to help others within the community, we are a training institution, training facility, and so this is one of those avenues that we took with Candeo to partner with them on this great project. Setting the workplace culture and the hiring practice, as mentioned as the mission and vision, is that you want to bring from paper to action, actions within the workplace from the top down. Moving to expectations and accountability, you want to make sure that you're taking a look around. You know, what is our need as an organization? Where is there an unmet need? There may not be on the surface a felt of an unmet need, but maybe as you dive deeper into the work, you may find that there is an unmet need that your organization has. Are we diversifying our pipeline? That's important to think about. Our workforce is changing and evolving. People are aging. Younger generations are coming in. And so we've got to think and act differently as a ways to help attract and retain our talent. Is there low retention or high retention? Low retention, is there an opportunity to assess and to see that this is a two-way street pipeline so that you can diversify not only the pipeline of candidates, but also maybe how you're going about doing your hiring practice. So from interviewing, are we doing on-site job shadows? Are we assessing our interview model to allow for individuals who have an opportunity to come on site or do over the phone, or come on site rather than being on the phone to be able to better interview. Moving on to hiring practices. You know, expectations and accountability is a two-way street. Of course, there is always a risk in hiring, so how do we as a company lessen that risk or close our gap? So with that, as mentioned, that we wanted to diversify our pipeline, many strategies we had already implemented from the Department of Labor that outlines for individuals that there was 25 ways to improve disability inclusion, and that we took as an opportunity to hire people with significant disabilities, and that we got commitment from the top of the company leadership and held a disability awareness event and connected with disability advocacy organizations such as Candeo and VR, letting them know what our business needs are, what our goals are. And online job process, we were making sure that it's accessible to all. And looking at our interview process, how do we make that inclusive of all individuals? And that's the reason that we'd expanded out to our project search model, because we had an understanding of the need to diversify, and we had the opportunity to bring the project search model into Iowa. And we took that opportunity in 2011 to bring it here to UnityPoint Health Methodist Campus. And we thought as a company we needed to seek out changes. We needed to do things differently. And we found that this was one of those best practice models, and only, of course, as we mentioned, one avenue to the business of what we were doing. Now I'll turn it over to Stephanie, who is going to go through what is the project search model.
Thanks, Amanda. So like Amanda described, you know, it's one avenue, and as an organization at Candeo, we always want to see folks be successful in employment. And so where this actually came from is through Erin Riley, who worked as a registered nurse out at Cincinnati Children's Hospital. I attended one of the Project Search conferences held in Omaha 2 years ago, and one thing that she mentioned was, I'm working at the hospital, and I'm noticing a lot of our patients coming through those doors, they have a disability. However, as I look around at folks that are working within the hospital, it didn't look as though they were hiring those folks. And she thought, why are we not doing that? This is a huge avenue of folks that we could be ensuring that they have a better life, they have opportunity, they can be successful. And so from that, she kind of, hence the little face on the screen is, what? Why are we not doing this? And so the background, kind of giving you a core foundation to understand where it came from and what it is today and how we came across it, was it was founded all the way in 1996. And it has grown since then. It's an internship program, 3 possibilities of internships throughout a 9-month period. Now the program is in 45 states in Canada, England, Scotland, Ireland, and there's currently 7 programs operating in Iowa and then 4 in the greater Des Moines area. And they're all based upon the expectations. Where are these expectations coming from? You know, what do you want from, as a company, like Amanda had mentioned, it's a two-way street. Are you allowing folks to come into the business to really get a good feel for what the culture is? Is this a place they want to work? Is it an inviting culture? Going back and tying into one of the first slides we had, what's your mission and vision of your company? And with UnityPoint, they recognize this. At the very top is, yes, we want to be doing what we can for the community and everyone that lives within this community. Yes, we want to participate in this. Let's partner and let's do this. And so we did, because we also recognize there's an unmet need in Iowa. There's a lot of folks that may have a disability. Right now, 49,072 are employed. This information is from the Iowa Data Center. It's a 2015 PDF that I received. These dates come from 2013. So 52% of Iowans with a disability worked at least part-time. Okay, that's not a horrible statistic, but let's use the opportunity to increase these numbers. Why wouldn't they be able to work? They're not, it's an untapped workforce that employers can get on board with, and it's just a way of recognizing, all right, what are they doing, what are you as an organization and a company doing for inclusion and culture and inviting folks in through your doors to really get an understanding of what your business is. Right now, the unemployment rate that was in 2013 for folks with disabilities is 11%. At that point in time, the unemployment rate in general for folks without disability was 4.8. That's a pretty huge gap, and there's well, as you can see on the screen, 181,561 number of people within a certain range that had a disability. All those folks are not working. So we recognize unmet need. It ties back in with the mission and vision. There's a culture here that allows for this to happen. And so how do we do that? How did we make sense of this? So, of course, there was buy-in from the top. But just because there's buy-in from the top doesn't mean there's going to be buy-in from everyone else in the organization. So I'll go in that in a little bit. But the model itself, what it allowed us to do is allow to build confidence and employment skills for these folks coming through these doors here at UnityPoint. They got to learn expectations alongside coworkers, not just someone from Candeo telling them, hey, what do you think about this? It was with a specific person that worked here and has worked here for a long time. They got to receive constructive feedback from supervisors and coworkers. Everybody needs to know what they're doing not so well and what they're successful on. It shouldn't matter if they have a disability or not. People still need to hear what they can be contributing and learning from. And also, it created a lot of rapport within each department and allowed departments to think outside the box, where maybe there was an individual that had a visual impairment, where we had to go in, and we can talk about accommodations here in a little bit, where, oh, wow, this font's really tiny, and other folks are actually having problems reading these shelves. Maybe we should make it larger. Maybe we should color code it. Because the whole goal with the model itself is to allow for young adults and adults with disabilities to be successful, independent, working citizens. I mean, regardless of disability, this should go for everyone. So this is a really great opportunity. So, all right, we got the buy-in from UnityPoint. Amanda was on board. She said, great, let's do this. Well, we don't really have a program if the departments aren't bought in. So that was one thing where we had to get the buy-in, show them that they had support, not only from UnityPoint to do this program, but they also had support from our agency, where we had folks that were coming in as employment consultants, assisting with ideas and assisting with the interns that were in the program. So one thing that we did was have meetings with the departments. We made sure that we discussed the expectation and accountability of the interns, so they knew what their role is in this program. We also went through etiquette training with the departments. A lot of times, and I'll talk a little bit more here in the next slide about this, some people just don't know. They don't know what they don't know, and people get nervous and awkward about that. With the program, and this is one of the things mentioned in the Department of Labor for empowering and inclusion for folks, is creating a mentorship program within the business. I mean, one thing that we were able to do is with each intern that came in, partner them with one of the departments and the individuals in the departments that were really excited about this program and giving them another, not expectation, but another avenue to be successful here at UnityPoint. So we would have these meetings, and we would really try to get them at a department meeting where everyone would be together. Because the biggest thing is we can't have a program if we don't have buy-in from the departments. So one thing that we did was we would try to get them at a monthly meeting. We would set aside 20 to 40 minutes, and it'd be us as the agency and someone that was with HR that they've already had conversations with. So Amanda would be our partner. We really wanted to make sure, and these are key elements here, because when you start talking about disability, people get a little squirmish. I don't know if you recognize that, but it happens in its life, and so we have to address it. But we had to address concerns and assumptions that folks just naturally have. We wanted to create a safe environment for folks. Because like I mentioned, most individuals are nervous and they're unsure. They're afraid to be politically correct, so they just don't say anything, and that's where the awkwardness comes into play. There's definitely some generational differences. We don't know folks' backgrounds. We don't know where they came from or where they're raised. Same goes for our interns. Some folks, there's no buy-in, they don't care. And other folks in that room, they're all in, they want to do it, and they want to see this program be successful. So we address the expectations, and then we add assurance saying, you're supported by this. This is from the top. We want this to go through every department. We want this to spread. We want feedback. We want to know how it's going. And of course, we tie it in with that mission and vision so they know this is purpose. There's a purpose behind this. And so it's really great to have that face-to-face with the departments in order to really get that feedback. And so one thing that we really discuss is etiquette, because they just don't know what they don't know. So you have to set the expectations and tell them it's okay. You can just relax. It'll be all right. They ask questions, you address them appropriately, get folks back on track if they need to. And these are some key points that we discuss, especially with the person-first language. It's always going to be the person first. People are people are people. We all have our own things. So a person may have a disability, but you don't want to identify that person as, oh, well, she's autistic, and oh, she's my coworker that has autism. Well, okay. That's one part of them, but that's not who they are. And some folks go as far as, oh, well, they've overcame their disability. Now they're so courageous. All right, they live this life just like we live, and maybe there's some instances where that can come into play, but take the person as a whole person. Instead of going that route, say Julie's so successful at her job, and she's taken on so many new tasks, and she's just doing a great job, instead of, wow, Julie has overcome her disability because she is able to perform so many new tasks. We need to think about the person as a whole person. Also, this seems pretty straightforward. Listen and be patient. Take time to learn about the employee. Don't pretend to understand if you're not sure what they said. No one likes to feel like they haven't been listened to. It doesn't feel good, so we need to really recognize if we're listening and not just pretending to understand and nod our head and bob our head up and down and go, I have no idea what you said, but okay. They know that you don't know what they said, and that's part of what they have to deal with on a daily basis. So we want to ensure that we're listening and being patient and ask them to repeat nicely. Speak directly and straightforward. If it's new information, treat adults as adults. Just because someone may have a disability and you may know they have a disability doesn't mean you have to talk down or have kind of when we talk with children, oh, you're just so great at what you do. Treat adults as adults. Another thing, and this is kind of nice where the agencies partnered with this, is there may be ideas that we come up with to allow the departments to come up with strategies on how the intern is going to be successful and what are some ideas that may just be great ideas in general for the department. So multi-step jobs, allowing for memorization and routine, and making sure for accommodations if they need to be there. Because in the end, we all face some kind of stereotype, and you need to get past getting past the easy assumptions and becoming comfortable with the person's disability, or fill in the blank with something else, is half the battle. And people are people are people, no matter where you go in this world. We need to treat them that way. It's easy, we all know this, but we have to move paper to action on how we're doing this. So, some results and kind of some takeaways in what we found so far with the program is it really creates cohesion with the team building. So there's a class component or a business meeting each day where they get to learn about the culture. They get to learn about interviewing skills, those soft skills that some of us, we had our first interview and I kind of wish I had more prep. Resume development, money management, how to handle stress on the job. That's huge. Not all of us, we have our days. We know what we need to do if we're stressed or if we've had a moment where, ooh, that didn't feel right. How do I handle this professionally? And then, like I mentioned earlier, the mentorship program. It gives opportunities to other individuals or employees in the business to allow to mentor these younger adults or adults that are going through this program. And that, like we mentioned earlier, ties in with the inclusion. Is it an atmosphere? Is it a culture where people are accepted and they feel accepted? We also know that it's best for employers to move beyond disability employers are able to move beyond disability as a negative impact because they can really, truly, just like people are people, be a positive impact. We can't just think of them as just, oh, they have a disability, sorry, they can't work. They are able to make contributions. It's all just for us finding that right job and how we can be successful. So we've had the program going for 4 years, Amanda? Mm-hmm. Yeah, 4 years. So 43 individuals have participated since the inception of 2012. So all together, all the interns, approximately 90% that have completed the program have retained employment through various industries. So it doesn't mean that you go through this program, UnityPoint must hire. That's not at all the concept, but it does allow for interns and for department managers and coworkers to really see, hey, these folks are really great. They might be very successful in this department. They may be very successful in another department. So since then, UnityPoint has offered employment to 14 interns. And so far, now given it's been a few years, 64% of those interns have been hired and they've continued to work here at UnityPoint. Now, would we love to see 100%? Absolutely. But we all know people leave for multiple reasons. It's not just for the reason of, oh, they lost their job. They may move. They may decide to get a bigger and better job. But it's all about opening those doors and treating it like, well, a gift. We mentioned that once, well, it was on a slide. And making sure that it's not just some wrapped gift where, oh, the marketing's fabulous. This is great. I want to work there. But they have no idea what's inside that gift. You need to be able to open up your business so folks can actually see what's inside that gift. Is it something they enjoy? Is it something that they want to be involved with? And so another really great, out of this, another great opportunity is seeing the success of folks that go through the program. So Amanda's going to discuss a little bit about one successful story with an intern that is now a full-time employee.
So we love to showcase Stephen as one of our very first interns through the Project Search program, and also our very first hire here at UnityPoint Methodist. As mentioned in the slide, he works here as our lab support tech and has been employed for over 3 years now and gained employment through the participation of Project Search. And as a result of working in a full-time capacity, he has moved himself from no longer needing any state or federal benefits or assistance. He is on his own, earning his own income, and has his own insurance, to which he's very proud. And on the next slide here, you'll see a picture of Stephen. So what happened with us is that we were able to attract and retain a highly qualified individual to work in our pathology laboratory. As an end result of his internships, he was landed in the pathology lab. Within our organization, we have an award that's given on a quarterly basis that we recognize our outstanding contributors, both employees and or other contractual staff members to the Methodist Hospital campus, and that it's the award called Always Being Committed to Excellence, and or Always Committed to Excellence, which stands for ACE. And that the reason why Stephen was given this award, received this award, is because he is often sharing his story within and outside the UnityPoint health system to bring awareness to persons with disabilities. And Stephen often talks about in his story how he has two disabilities, one that you can see and one that you cannot. And he talks to each of those as examples of the things that he has worked very hard to do better at as he has aged and become a young adult. And even on the job, while we had one way of thinking and doing the lab work, he brought to us another way to do the job and receive the same results. And because of that, he now performs with 99% accuracy at his job, which, if any of you know anything about the lab, very important that we have accuracy in the results for our individuals and our patients that are receiving our care. So he has done great work for us, and we try to highlight his story wherever possible as one of the many success stories, but one of which we are all very, very proud of and are so blessed to have him a part of the UnityPoint health system. So to wrap up into why do we do all this? What's the point, right, as an employer? Why would I do this? Well, as you can see on the slide here, it really promotes that culture of inclusion and moves those individuals to being empowered, and as a result, first bullet point, improves the workflow so that the tasks, which are often overlooked, get completed. Stephanie mentioned earlier, breaking down those job tasks, simple by step, not only helps maybe an intern in their experience, but it also helps the whole entire staff, potentially, with doing the job differently and better and more quickly. Increases productivity of our existing employees. They want to step up to the plate and show off what we do around this hospital and make sure that intern has a great experience. And accommodations for all that enhances everyone's experience. You know, everyone's experience is different in that, you know, I may not realize that the ability to have a flat plate on the door would help me get through the door as an able-bodied person, but the next person who is not able to have that use of their arms and legs as I do, we make that accommodation for them. And it helps across the organization as we're moving very heavy equipment and laundry and linens across our organization, and it found to be something that was a win-win for anyone working at the hospital, not to mention just those that worked in our laundry linen area. And it helps to address business needs more cost effectively because you're able to, you know, move to more efficient, effective ways of getting business done. And then, of course, when employing those individuals that you're working with, that you are helping them to be into competitive employment, earn their own benefits, earn their own pay. And it obviously expands our services offered within the business, too, because we have learned so much from our interns that we, too, have even changed some of our business models as a result of that. Because of that experience and that two-way street, we want the community to know what it's like to work inside of our hospital and to be taken care of inside of our hospital. So we look to, at the beginning of our hiring practice, to really open up and unwrap that present, as Stephanie mentioned earlier, is to make sure that it all looks good on the outside from our marketing standpoint. And maybe if you've had experience as a patient, or even these interns, most of them are so familiar already because they may have visited our facilities on various bases of their life. But it's really about what are we talking that talk and walking that walk when they get here and they actually work here, and making sure that they feel included and welcomed. And this goes not only for them, but anyone who works in our organization. We want to make sure that we do everything we can to enhance the employee workplace experience and satisfaction so that we all can do great work here so we can take care of our patients. So as we wrap up and moving forward, things to think about and takeaways for you as the employer is, are these ideas and strategies, would they be successful for your company? You know, of course, Project Search being one avenue, there are many other organizations and programs, and obviously the pipeline of one avenue of Project Search, there are many other pipelines that we need to be thinking about and looking into and considering for our organization as we change with the times of, from economic conditions to who is our labor market. And does our current recruiting process utilize agencies who specialize in this demographic of job seekers? So do we connect with Candeos, VRs, all those other employment agencies to help us find that labor market we feel is necessary to help represent our organization and our community? And am I familiar with agencies that specialize in that? And if not, get yourself educated. There are many out there, and in fact, these job seekers and the job developers who help them find jobs, they cannot wait for you to open the door to them and build that relationship, because they want to work hard for not only their clients, but they will work hard for you as the employer to make sure that it's a great fit and a great experience for both. And as I mentioned in the beginning, are there unmet needs? Are there opportunities within my company? You know, you may come to mind with some pretty surface level ones, but as you dive deeper and dig deeper, and even working with those employment agencies, they can help you find those unmet needs that you may have not had a clue existed. So we want to thank you for the opportunity to host this webinar and empowering individuals and empowering people for this month's recognition of the National Disability Employment Awareness Month, and hope and wish you the best of luck in diversifying your pipeline and employing individuals as we look into tomorrow's workforce labor market. Thank you.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much, Amanda and Stephanie. I do have a few follow-up questions for you. I really liked your approach where you started your presentation on focusing on who is your customer base and how can we attract employees that match our customer base. That is so important. When we think about who do we want to do business with as an individual, you know, we look at companies where we're going to shop or take our services to or buy services from. We want to connect to businesses that have the same values as us. And so I think that was a really great point to start with. You talked a little bit about how to get started, you know, in your last slide here, whether it is Project Search or it is just another program to help diversify your organization. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that starting point. You know, how do you get the conversation going? What are some of those initial things that you can look for or do within your organization, and, you know, how do you get started?
Well, I think, Kathy, it is one relationship at a time, and it is about one piece of connection and getting the knowledge, you know, and understanding it. So making, if you have that knowledge or if you gain that knowledge within the community, that you look in deep with what your company wants to do, where they want to go, and then how you know if you're, as Stephanie mentioned, if you're all in, you know, me as an individual who is all in, I presented it to our senior level leadership and stated that, you know, these individuals, although we are a teaching facility for many healthcare settings, from residencies through our nurses, we found that there are still many jobs that are frontline entry that don't require those professional license and certifications, And so we needed to make sure that we were sustainable in keeping that talent coming through our door, because it is a frontline entry that we have opportunities for individuals to move on in their careers, whether that be with us or externally. And so we wanted to make sure that we kept our market, our talent market going, and then also we wanted to make sure that we represented it, what our community looks like, who is coming in our doors. And as I took a look around, and as my previous manager who actually was with me when we started this program, we did the same thing. We took a look around and went, wow, our workforce doesn't represent really what's in our community. And you know, you were working with many other areas of the community that we don't represent. And so bringing that to the attention of my senior leadership to talk about, here's one way that we could start this process. And luckily, right at that same time, we had been contacted by the employment agency saying, we want to bring Project Search to Iowa. And because of that, we want to make Methodist be that first program. We took almost a year to get it through our organization. It was not something you can just slap on there. As Stephanie mentioned, you have to have buy-in. Our leaders were supportive of it. They had buy-in, but then again, it had to be, who are the folks that are going to interact with them on a daily basis? Those were those departments. And those departments, although they'll take free labor, they also want to have certain expectations for what they want to take in labor. And for us, it was to help educate them and train them and prove to them that these individuals, they can contribute just like you and I. And it really didn't take long, because naturally working in healthcare, we're here to help others. And so we quickly wooed them, as you would say, and moved this program into fruition, and haven't looked back since. We have enjoyed every single moment of it.
Wonderful. And I think you hit on a really good point. This isn't something that happens overnight. It's something you build upon, and you gain traction as you gain buy-in. But you have to be patient with the process to eventually get to the outcomes that you want.
Absolutely.
Stephanie, you mentioned that one of the services that Candeo provides to your job seekers is just that interview prep. What advice do you have for employers on the do's and don'ts of interviewing, and interviewing anyone?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I'm going to flip it to the other side. And Amanda, feel free to jump in as well.
Like, I mean, I'm glad you asked me. But no, I mean, I think a lot of the times, you know, a job developer or an employment specialist, they'll make the connection. They'll reach out to someone, whether it's HR or someone in the organization, to really say, hey, I have someone that could really be successful. So then building that relationship, getting them to the point that they've applied, you have the interview set up, and then if we don't have a good foundation with that business, all of a sudden that individual that has applied has someone standing next to them, and the employer kind of freezes and goes, who are you? Why are you here? You can't be here. And I think a lot of the time, you know, there's just a lot of, I don't know what the best word to describe it, just
apprehension.
Yeah, that's a good one. Thanks, Amanda. Apprehension would be the word of not really getting a clear idea, because at that point you have to explain, by the way, or hopefully the best scenario, best practice is that relationship has been built. So that eases everybody's minds going into the interview, but if that hasn't been made, making sure that it is okay if they are asking for that accommodation. The purpose for a consultant or someone or a specialist or a developer that is with that individual isn't to give them the answers. That's the last thing that we need to be doing. So say if Amanda is interviewing someone that I am supporting, I won't really want to do anything or say anything unless I see my client that I'm supporting kind of look at me and go, oh, no, what she just said. Because there could have been, you know, she may have said something too fast. She may just need to repeat it. in anybody interview, unless you are solid in your interview skills, you're going to be a little nervous and you don't know exactly what you'll do in the process. So it's, you know, I may chime in and say, hey, Amanda, would you be able to repeat that a little bit slower or rephrase it? We don't want to have a rephrase where it's giving them and leading them into the answer, but a way that it may get them to trigger, oh, got it, I can give you this explanation. So we always ask, it kind of goes back to our presentation with, you know, listen and be patient. Not all folks are going to be able to give you that answer immediately. And so allowing them to know it's okay, you can have time to answer. Because a lot of times folks say, sometimes I've supported individuals and the person that's doing the interview will just like look at me after they ask the question. Be like, what? Why aren't they saying anything? I'm like, well, and then I may chime in and say, well, may I rephrase if they don't necessarily know how to do that. So it really depends on the behavioral questions. Those are a doozy for anybody. Break those down. And if you don't feel like you can break those down, you need to really think about your hiring practices because you're going to discourage a lot of folks very quickly. There's nothing, I don't think any rule, Amanda, that you can't not break down a behavioral question.
No, it's better to, for anyone that may challenge with retaining that much information coming at them and related to a question, especially when you're nervous. And we would, you know, for getting back to, you know, like the do's and don'ts, there really is no don'ts other than those illegal questions.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to stay into the acceptable questions category. But, you know, we ultimately want to empower these individuals to also talk about what they bring to the table. You know, talk about what they have. If they have a visual disability or a learning disability, we want to make sure they're comfortable in speaking to us about that because the more information the employer knows at the front end is so much better in the back end for making sure that we get them the best experience possible when employed here at the organization. So we look for, and more the do's part is, we offer the opportunity to interview phone, in person. We offer the opportunity for them to interview with panel members, so meaning the coworkers they'd be working with. And then ultimately we say, okay, how about we let you job shadow? How about you go with one of the leaders of the organization or that department, maybe a charge role or a lead person, and let them walk you around the department and let you see what's happening so that you get a good idea of what this job entails, because any single one of us would want to know that. I know working in healthcare, we have Department of Labor expectations based upon our job. We don't, obviously most jobs don't sit behind the desk here. We're out and taking care of people, and we're pushing and pulling and lifting and standing and sitting. And so, you know, any single person wants to know what it really looks like to be here and work here and know what that job, what am I going to be expected to do? And so we, as a do, make sure we offer that as an opportunity for anyone to do. We also do the touring, too, touring them around the facility because they got to know, am I comfortable working in a large setting, in a busy setting, and or do I look to have more of a quiet setting, more of a place to kind of hide out, put my head down, work behind the scenes? And so we want to make sure they understand by touring around that this is what you would be interacting with on a daily basis, and really understanding the environment is ultimately important for everyone's success, for ours to be able to retain you and for you to want to do work here.
And that's really a great practice for anyone that you're interviewing with the company. If you have that opportunity to do that, you're right, different environments are not a fit for everybody. So fantastic. My last question for you is around productivity and expectations. You know, productivity is top of mind for all employers today as we're trying to do more with less and, you know, create efficiencies. How do you balance expectations to bring out the best in all employees, you know, in that type of environment?
Well, I mean, I think it's just from the beginning is making sure that they're well aware of what the job entails and that they have that job description in hand and they know what are the essential functions, what is going to be the outcomes I'm going to be held to. And yes, doing more with less is certainly a motto, but don't do more with less, i.e. cut your nose off to spite your face, because that's not going to work for anybody. And for these individuals, you know, if they take a longer training and onboarding curve, we work with that. We want to make sure anyone coming into the organization has that opportunity to be successful. And although they're not maybe aligning with what a normal, everyday, average Joe would do in 2-week time period, maybe they take 4 weeks. Well, we're going to allow them 4 weeks. We're going to allow them as long as we show progress and that they're meeting the expectations, the productivity will come with it. They'll get better, they'll get faster, they'll have more accuracy, but not to maybe expect the same outcomes for everybody, because every individual learns differently. Everyone is motivated differently. So it doesn't really one size fits all or staying within the box. It's not the workforce anymore. It's just not the way to do business anymore.
And I love the example of Stephen with 99% accuracy at his job. Phenomenal. So great. Thank you so much, Amanda and Stephanie, for your time and wisdom that you shared with us today. Thank you again to everybody who is joining our session across the state. And we hope you will join us for Session 3, which is on November 4th. Thank you so much.